Now this is what I'm talking about being well worth the wait. Hey everyone, it's Sharona for Pay or Wait, and today I'm going to be reviewing Bad Boys for Life, which is directed by Adele El Arbi and also to Bilal Fallah. And the film stars Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, who are reprising their roles as Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett. And so they have to come together one more time for one last mission because it's Bad Boys for Life. And that's all I'm going to say. This is going to be a spoiler-free review, so don't you worry your pretty little head. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, any major plot points. I promise I will protect your viewing experience. So for those of you who are new to my channel, I'll tell you what I liked about the film, what I didn't like about the film, and should you pay or wait to see this film in theaters. So, guys, this sequel was 17 years in the waiting, okay? It's been 17 years since Bad Boys 2. So I was just like, I don't know. I mean, I like the other two Bad Boys, but it's just been so long. Like, are they still going to have the same chemistry? But I have to say, I had a really great time watching this film. The chemistry between Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, like, it is so great. They're just a perfect comedy pair with one another. And one of the things that I would have to say going into what I enjoyed about this film, I really enjoyed the action. Like, I know in the previous two films, like, one of the main things about Mike Lowrey is everyone talks about his body count, Bulletproof Mike, because he kills so many people. But I have to say, in this third film, I was just like, my goodness, this was like, it was very gory. It was very gruesome, but I was here for all of it, which only adds for more funny moments with Martin Lawrence's character, Marcus, because you know how he gets at the sight of blood. Anything will make him nauseous. And so I have to say, I had a really great time with kind of the action sequences, but also too, kind of like the little gory deaths that was happening in the whole film. I was literally like this. I was like, oh, that was me the entire film. So I had a really great time with that. And then the comedy, it was just great. It just felt so good to just go to a movie, get my action on, but also to get my laugh on. Martin Lawrence is absolutely hilarious. And when he gets put in these his character Marcus gets put in these situations with Mike, I just love it. It's like he say the things that you like thinking, but you shouldn't say. It's like not the right time. And what I think that this film does a very great job of is how to balance the comedy. There are serious things that happen in the film, and then there's something funny that happens, but it doesn't feel out of place. It always feels that the jokes come at the right time. And for the most part, actually, all the jokes landed in the film. And so also, too, what I would have to say, the storyline is so good in Bad Boys 3. I think that Bad Boys 3 or Bad Boys for Life, I think they have one of the best storylines than the other two previous films. There was so much that was happening. I was like, oh my God, like I feel like I'm watching a soap opera right now. I was like, all these revelations, I was here for it, but I didn't know I was going to get all of this goodness. And because the storyline is written so well, it also helps for me to appreciate the villains of the film. Kate Del Castillo and also to Jacob Scipio, they are the villains of the film. And I absolutely love them because they actually have stories that make sense, that make you invested in their characters to see the connections to the other characters in the film. They're bad villains. I think they do a very great job of establishing why they are to be feared, why they are a match for Mike and Marcus, but also too with how their storyline kind of interweaves with these other characters. I was just like, yes, finally, villains that I can care about. Is one of my biggest harps, especially in action films. They have these villains and like they do nothing with them. They're just supposed to be the bad guy, and it's just like, okay, so I know it's gonna be a big boss fight towards the end of the movie. But I really love these characters, and I have to say, Jacob, he was giving me life. I was like, I know you're like a murderer, but you can kind of get it. I was like, hey, boo, but that's beside the point. Also, too, one of the things that I really do appreciate for Bad Boys for Life is how women are portrayed. Not to say that women were portrayed in a bad way necessarily in previous films, but I do think they kind of got caught up on the whole damsel in distress type of thing. And I think there are strong representations of women. Now, we had that with Gabrielle Union's character in the previous film, but she also ended up getting kidnapped. So I was just like, why we got to do all of this? Like, but I have to say, I love the addition with Paola Nunez, who is one of the new additions to the third installment. I really enjoy her character. I have a little girl crush on her character, but I thought she was absolutely fantastic. She played well off of the other characters, and I love that she had stuff to do. Also, too, I think that they did a very great job of interweaving these new characters. I was a little apprehensive when I saw the trailer and I saw that they were adding Alexander Ludwig, Vanessa Hudgens, and Charles Melton. I was just like, is this going to be one of those things where it's like, it's the new kids, they're younger, they're faster, they're stronger, they have all this tech, and then it's kind of them going against like the old squad, the older characters. I thought that that's where they were going to go with Bad Boys for Life, but I have to say, I really liked what they did with their characters. I love that they introduced these new characters, but also too, you still knew that it was Will and Martin's show, and I think they played very good roles. I really like their characters, and they actually had some cool things to do. Also, Vanessa Hudgens going into how I felt about women actually being a part of the action and having things to do. I think that they did a very great job of meshing the old with the new, and I thought it was very well done. Now, there were small issues that I did have with the film. Also, too, one last thing going into what's good, and it'll kind of lead me into the con. They get started with the action. Like, they just jump right into it. I was like, hold up, this happened. It's like 10 minutes into the movie. All of this is happening already? I was just like, what are they going to do for the rest of like the other hour and 50 minutes? I just didn't understand. So I do appreciate that they really don't waste time. They really jump into things and they really get the story going. But I will have to say, about the 45-minute mark, I feel like it started slowing down a little bit. And I was like, okay, like how long I've been in this movie? But it does, once we get into kind of the latter part of the second act into the third act, things really do pick up. But I would have to say that there is an issue that I have kind of with how this ties in with the previous two films, more specifically how it ties in with the second film. I was just like, so if this happened, then like the whole thing that happened in the second movie really didn't make sense. And I'm going to talk more about this in my spoiler review. It'll make more sense. I'm being very vague because I don't want to give any plot points away, but I was just like, that don't make no sense, but for the sake of going with the flow, I'm gonna go with the flow. But yeah, overall for me, you guys, I had a really great time with this movie. Like, this definitely helped boost my spirits about this little January slump. I thought that this was such a fun movie. It did a great job of feeling like it was a part of the other two films. They definitely did some nods to the previous films, kind of some Michael Bay-esque type of shots in this film. I just thought it was a fun time. I laughed, okay? I gasped because the tea was too much. It was scalding hot in this movie. But I just had a really great time. And for this to be a January film that gives you great action, it gives you laughs, like, I really felt that they could have released this film during the summer because that's how good this film was. I love this film. If they said they were going to make a Bad Boys 4, I would be like, sign me up, take all of my money. I am totally here for it. So what I would tell you guys to do with you and your coins for Bad Boys for Life, I will tell you guys to pay to see this movie in theaters. You're going to have a great time, okay? It's well worth the 17-year wait, and I can't say any more good things about this because at this point I'm rambling. So those are my quick thoughts on Bad Boys for Life. As always, my name is Sharonda from Pay Your Weights, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.